There is a quiet wisdom that flows beneath all the noise of this world, like a river beneath the surface of a restless earth. You may not hear it when you are running, chasing, measuring, or comparing. But when you stop, when you finally pause long enough to listen, it begins to speak, not in the language of the mind, but in the silent knowing of the soul. And it says this: focus not on what is missing, focus on what is right. Because what is right now is sacred. You see, there is a part of you that has been trained to believe something is wrong, that something is broken, that something essential is just out of reach. This part wears the face of the ego. It counts flaws, compares stories, and builds its identity on the shaky ground of what's lacking. It's the part that whispers, "You'll be happy when," and then dangles the carrot of completion just far enough away that you never arrive. But there is another voice, a softer one, a wiser one, the voice of your divine self, the presence that knows you not as a work in progress, but as a work of art. That voice does not rush. It does not fear. It does not point to the hole in your life and call it failure. It points to the light already inside you and calls it home. So many walk this earth feeling as if they are chasing fragments of themselves scattered across time. The perfect job, the perfect partner, the perfect body, the perfect day. But the soul is not interested in perfection. It is interested in presence, in truth, in gratitude, in love. To focus on what is right does not mean you deny your pain. It means you see the pain through the eyes of wholeness. It means you remember that even amidst uncertainty, there is breath, there is stillness. There is the miracle of your heartbeat, drumming quietly for you while you sleep. There is always something right, always something sacred. And when you train your gaze upon it, when you shift the spotlight of your attention from the cracks to the light shining through them, you begin to transform not the world, but your experience of the world. As the Tao teaches, the way to do is to be. Not to become, not to strive, but to be. And to be fully, with all your attention, in what is here, is to recognize that nothing is missing. How could it be when you are already whole? Imagine the tree in winter. It does not panic because its branches are bare. It does not weep for the leaves that have fallen. It trusts. It knows spring will come. It stands rooted in what is, not longing for what is not. And you too are of nature. You too have seasons. But even in the stillness of waiting, you are not empty. You are growing. The ego believes peace lies in the elimination of problems. But the soul knows peace is the presence of awareness in the midst of everything. To shift from focusing on what's missing to what's right is to return to your soul. It is to awaken from the trance of lack and remember the abundance that breathes you. Look now, right now, what's right? Is your heart beating? Is the breath flowing? Is there something, anything you can feel, taste, hear, or see? Then there is a miracle present. And miracles do not need to be grand to be holy. A single conscious breath is a prayer. A moment of laughter is a temple. A tear, shed in truth, is a baptism. And the more you attune yourself to the beauty of what is, the more life reveals itself to you, not as a series of problems to solve, but as a sacred unfolding to witness. You may have been taught that your worth is conditional, that you must earn it, prove it, perfect it. But the soul laughs gently at this illusion. Your worth is not in question. It was never on trial. It is a given bestowed by the very force that shaped the stars and placed you gently here. What's right in this moment is not something you have to seek. It is something you allow yourself to see. It is not added, it is revealed. And so, begin again, right now. Let your attention be the alchemy. Let your gratitude be the gateway. See the sky. Feel the earth beneath your feet. Remember the loved ones who have held space for your spirit. Recall a moment, any moment, when you felt free. That feeling lives in you still. It was never lost, only buried beneath the rubble of seeking. As Rumi said, don't grieve. Anything you lose comes round in another form. When you stop counting what's gone and begin blessing what remains, you become an instrument of grace, a living prayer, a radiant beam of what's eternal within you. This is not denial. This is divine remembrance. This is not avoidance. This is alignment. And from this space, miracles become natural because you are no longer resisting what is, you are embracing it. and anything you embrace, you transform. So today, refuse to be defined by the missing pieces. Refuse to measure your life by what is absent. Refuse to give your power away to the narrative of not enough. Instead, focus on the sacred breath. Focus on the laughter you shared. Focus on the strength you forgot you had but kept showing up with anyway. Focus on the love that came unexpected. Focus on the lessons that shaped you. Focus on the quiet mornings, the soft light, the way your soul keeps singing even when the world forgets the melody. This is your practice, not someday. But now, let this moment be the altar. Let this breath be the offering. Let your attention be the sacred act of returning not to the illusion of lack, but to the truth of fullness. You are not empty. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are breathing. You are aware. You are the presence of the divine in human form, remembering itself one breath at a time. Focus on what's right, and you will find there's so much more right than you ever realized. And that changes everything. What you focus on, you empower. And what you empower, you invite to stay. So ask yourself with honesty, have you been feeding your peace or your pain? Have you been counting the blessings or cataloging the wounds? The world outside may swirl with reasons to despair, but the world within always holds the option to choose again, to choose love, to choose awareness, to choose the present moment as it is, without argument, without judgment, without the old story dragging behind. Because the story of lack only has power if you keep telling it. And when you stop repeating it, even silently, the silence that remains will begin to echo with a different truth, a deeper one. A truth that says you are already living inside the miracle. Open your eyes. This does not mean you ignore the ache. It means you let the ache be held in something bigger than the ache itself. You let the ache be touched by the light of awareness. You stop making it your identity. You stop wearing it like a badge. Because no matter how long you've been hurting, the pain is not who you are. It is something moving through you, like wind through trees, rain through soil. And even as it passes, life is offering gifts. But you can only receive them if your hands aren't clenched in resentment, if your heart isn't locked in the past, if your gaze isn't fixed on what never was. What's right in your life is not just what shines, it's what teaches, what deepens you, what reminds you that strength doesn't come from smoothness, it comes from surviving the storms and still daring to bloom. The cracked places in your heart, that's where the light has been working its way in. And now you have a choice, to keep tending the cracks or to step into the light that's been trying to reach you all along. Because every time you breathe into the beauty of this moment, you let go of the illusion that anything is missing. And what a relief it is to stop striving, to stop reaching for what you already hold. Even now, in this breath, something holy is happening. Even now, as your mind searches for more, your soul sits patiently, offering enough. Enough in the inhale, enough in the silence. Enough in the presence that says, this is it. Not someday, not later, but now, this is it. And you are it. You are what's right. Not because you've achieved perfection, but because you exist at all. You are proof of something sacred. Something eternal chose to express itself as you. And when you remember that, lack dissolves, comparison fades, and your being becomes its own kind of prayer. You don't need more time. You need more presence. You don't need more answers. You need more trust. The need to fix fades when you realize that nothing essential was ever broken. The need to search quiets when you accept that the seeker and the sought are one. The soul isn't looking for what's missing. The soul is calling you back to what has always been. And what has always been is enough, is love, is right. So breathe, not to escape, but to arrive. And in that arrival, feel the sacred pulse of life, not in the grand, but in the quiet. The way a single smile can shift your day. The way a gentle wind feels on your skin. The way you can hold yourself in compassion when no one else knows what you're going through. These are not small things. These are everything. And when you learn to notice them, to bless them, you become a witness to grace. And grace, once seen, can never be forgotten. It becomes your compass, your rhythm, your home. And from that home within, you no longer chase light. You become it. You radiate what you choose to focus on. You become an anchor for what is right, not only in your own life, but in the lives you touch. Because every shift within you is a gift to the world. Every time you choose love over fear, presence over distraction, enoughness over lack. You raise the vibration of this planet, not in theory, but in truth, in energy, in real, quiet revolution. This is how we heal the world, not by screaming into the darkness, but by lighting a single candle in the center of our being and tending it fiercely. That candle is focus. That flame is awareness. And when you direct it toward what is right, it begins to burn through every illusion that told you otherwise. So let that flame grow. Let it reveal the beauty of your life exactly as it is. Let it warm the places that have gone cold from years of wanting. Let it guide you back, not to the version of you the world asked for, but to the version that has always been true. The version that trusts, that surrenders, that sees clearly this moment is not missing anything, this moment is holy, and so are you. There is a quiet revolution that begins the moment you decide to see the gift instead of the grievance, the beauty instead of the bruise, the presence instead of the lack. This revolution does not erupt in noise, it blossoms in stillness. It happens when you no longer believe the voice that says your joy must be postponed until conditions are met. It happens when you look around and realize the very breath entering your lungs is enough reason to weep with gratitude. It happens when you finally stop resisting the moment and start inhabiting it like a sacred temple, not because it is perfect, but because it is real. And in that realness, it becomes divine. Life was never meant to be measured by accumulation. The soul does not thrive on how much you own, how much you accomplish, how many eyes watch you shine. The soul thrives on depth, on presence, on moments where you allow yourself to feel so completely that time dissolves and what remains is nothing but being. That's the treasure. That's what's right. And the tragedy is how often we overlook it because we've been conditioned to look up and ahead, but never in and down. We climb ladders without asking if they're leaning against the right wall. We chase approval without pausing to ask whose love we are actually starving for. We beg for more when the more we crave is not something we can possess, it is something we already are. And so the healing begins when you slow down, not when you finish the task list, not when you perfect the outer world, but when you finally decide that this moment, messy and miraculous as it is worthy of your reverence. That's when the light begins to rise. That's when the heaviness begins to lift. You see, focusing on what's right is not spiritual naivety, it's spiritual maturity. It is the choice to trust the soil even when you can't see the roots growing. It is the decision to bless the rain because you know it nourishes something unseen. It is the wisdom to say, even this has purpose when your heart is still breaking. And oh, how it breaks. This world in all its beauty still wounds. People leave, dreams falter, bodies ache, hopes bend beneath the weight of time. But beneath the breaking, there is a holding. And beneath the holding, there is a knowing. And the knowing says, what is right will carry you. The love you've given, the kindness you've offered, the truth you've spoken, even when your voice shook. These are the invisible pillars holding your life together. Not the possessions, not the praise, but the unseen sacred choices you've made when no one was watching. The soul knows what is right. And it remembers, let yourself remember now. Remember the moment you forgave someone, not because they deserved it, but because you deserved peace. Remember the sunrise that made you feel whole for no reason at all. Remember the way your heart leapt when you helped someone without needing anything in return. These are not memories. They are signposts. They are reminders of who you really are beneath the roles and the noise. You are love in motion. You are grace with skin on. You are a soul remembering itself through the practice of presence. And the practice is simple, not easy, but simple. Wake up and notice what is right. The sound of birdsong, the warmth of water on your skin, the softness of your own breath. These are holy things. Let them be enough. Let them be more than enough. Because in truth they are. You don't need to wait for life to get better. You only need to get quieter. And in the quiet, you will hear the voice that's been waiting. The one that doesn't demand, the one that doesn't push, the one that gently whispers, you are already here. And when you realize you are already here, not at the destination, but in the miracle, everything changes. You stop chasing and start cherishing. You stop forcing and start flowing. You begin to see that what you thought was missing was only hidden by the fog of forgetfulness. And now the fog lifts. And what it reveals is breathtaking in its simplicity. You, breathing, you, feeling, you, loving, losing, healing, and opening again. You, still here. And that is what's right. That is what was always right. There is a sacred rhythm pulsing beneath all things, even in the midst of your confusion. Even when your heart feels uncertain and the road ahead is unclear, that rhythm continues. It beats beneath the chaos. It hums beneath your fear. It breathes through you like a silent tide, never demanding to be noticed, but always willing to guide you home. And if you grow still enough, quiet enough, honest enough, you'll begin to hear it again. Not as a booming voice from above, but as a subtle alignment within, a return to resonance, to truth, to what is right and has always been right about your life. For too long, you may have been conditioned to believe that fulfillment is somewhere else, that the joy you seek belongs to another time, another place, another version of you. But the truth, the eternal, unwavering truth, is that joy has never left you. It only waits to be noticed. It waits beneath the comparison, the self-doubt, the expectations placed upon you by a world that has forgotten its soul. It waits behind your breath, beneath your heartbeat, inside your quiet moments of honesty. The joy, the wholeness, the peace, they are not distant stars, they are the fabric of your very being. And so the invitation, the whisper, the call of this moment is simple. Stop counting the missing pieces and start blessing the pieces that remain. Because what remains is sacred. What remains is strong. What remains has carried you through storms you never thought you'd survive. You did not break, you were broken open. And now, in the openness, in the vulnerability that the ego fears but the soul adores, something new can enter, something real, something whole. You are not here to constantly fix yourself. You are not here to endlessly strive towards some unreachable ideal. You are here to be whole now. And wholeness doesn't mean you don't ache. It doesn't mean you don't yearn. It means you know how to hold yourself through the ache, how to breathe through the longing, how to rest in what is good, even as you walk through what is hard. There is a deeper strength that lives within you, one that doesn't shout or push, but patiently rises when you stop resisting. This strength is not made of armor, it is made of openness. It is made of the courage to love again after loss, to try again after failure, to believe again after disappointment, to trust in the unseen, even when the seen has shaken you. You may not always know where you're going. You may not always understand why things unfolded the way they did. But there is one thing you can always know. The direction of healing is inward. Not forward, not upward, not outward, but inward. Toward presence, toward simplicity, toward truth. And truth will always point you back to what is right, right here. It may be a gentle truth, a subtle truth, a quiet voice in a loud world, but it is yours, and it will never abandon you. Even when you forget, even when you doubt, even when you fall into despair, it waits. Like the steady sun behind the clouds, like the tide waiting to return to shore, like the breath waiting to be received, again it waits. And now is the moment to return. Return not to what was, but to what is. Not to the version of yourself you once were, but to the version that is rising now, shaped by grace, softened by surrender, fortified by the very things you thought would destroy you. You are not broken. You are becoming. And what you are becoming is more aligned, more aware, more awake. This is the miracle that unfolds when you focus on what's right. Life softens, the struggle eases, you stop bracing for pain and start opening to love. You stop running from the now and begin walking with it hand in hand, like two old friends who finally reconciled. And in that union, peace returns, joy returns, clarity returns. Not because life changed, but because your focus did. And in that shift, you rediscover the truth you've known all along, that what you seek is never far away. It is as close as your next breath, as intimate as your own heartbeat, as present as the stillness in which these words now land. This is what's right. This is what's sacred. And this is who you are. What happens when you stop waiting for life to give you permission? What happens when you stop bargaining with the moment, stop placing conditions on your own joy, and instead open your arms to the rawness of now? You begin to live, not in theory, not in memory, not in some distant future, where everything is finally aligned, but now, in this breath, in this unfolding. You begin to feel life not as something you must fix or control, but as something you can finally allow. And in the allowing, the sacred reveals itself not in lightning bolts, but in the quiet miracle of your own existence. You see, so much of our suffering comes not from what is, but from our resistance to what is, from the false idea that something is wrong because it is not as we imagined. But the soul does not live in imagination, it lives in reality. It lives in this heartbeat, this moment, this rising and falling of emotion, of thought, of experience. The soul does not need perfection, it needs presence. And presence begins with one sacred decision, to look gently and honestly at your life and see what is right with it. Not what you're missing, not what's unfinished, not what someone else has, but what is here, what is now, what is holding you even as you read these words. The breath, the awareness, the pulse of life itself moving through you like a hymn. You are not forgotten, you are not forsaken. You are a living, breathing miracle of being. And the moment you truly see that, not as an idea but as a knowing, is the moment you become free. Freedom, real freedom, is not found in escape. It's found in embodiment. It's found in your choice to be exactly where you are and to meet yourself with reverence, to say, this is enough. Even when it's messy, even when it's unfinished, even when your heart still aches and the answers haven't come. This is enough. Because when you say that, when you truly mean it, something ancient stirs within you, something true, something holy. The divine within you awakens not as a distant force, but as the very breath rising in your chest. And that awakening is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is the softest exhale, the gentle settling of your spirit after a lifetime of restlessness. It is a remembering so profound that it brings you to tears, not because something was added, but because something false was finally let go. The false belief that you were lacking, that you were separate, that you had to earn your right to be here. But beloved, you are here. You are already here. The miracles already happen. You are alive. You are aware. You are the presence through which life experiences itself. And all you must do now is see it, bless it, choose it. Choose to focus on what is nourishing instead of what is missing. Choose to dwell in what is loving instead of what is lacking. Choose to meet your own life with eyes wide open and a heart that says yes even when it hurts, even when it confuses, even when it challenges. Say yes to what is right, and what is right will grow. What you water grows. What you focus on expands. So choose well. Choose what supports you. Choose what brings you back home. Choose the truth that sets you free, not the story that keeps you small. And if you forget, as we all do, if the old patterns return, if the voice of the ego rises with its complaints and its comparisons, then return again. Return to this breath. Return to what's right. Return to the silence between thoughts, where the soul speaks in whispers and in light. That place has never left you. That place is who you are. You were never meant to find yourself out there. You were meant to remember yourself right here, in this quiet moment, in this sacred pause, in this gentle, holy, ordinary now. So now we arrive not at an end, but at a return, not to a final answer, but to a deeper stillness, the kind that lives beneath every question, the kind that doesn't need to prove itself to be true. You are not finishing something here. You are remembering something ancient. You are returning again and again to what is right, to what is whole, to what has never once been missing, only momentarily obscured by the noise of becoming. And in this return, you do not need to shout. You do not need to announce your arrival. You simply begin to live from it, to breathe from it, to walk as if the sacred is already inside you, because it is. The world may never understand the depth of your inner shift, but your soul will. Your soul has waited patiently for this, for you to pause, for you to look around at the tapestry of your own life and say, this is enough, for you to stop asking what is missing and start celebrating what remains, what's breathing, what's here. The trees do not count their leaves to determine their worth. The ocean does not measure its waves to justify its existence. And you, precious soul, you do not need to tally your victories to claim your right to be at peace. You were born enough. You remain enough. You are the answer you've been seeking. And the moment you believe that not as a thought, but as a felt truth, everything softens. The war within you ceases. The grasping relaxes. The searching transforms into seeing. You begin to see God in the ordinary, in the coffee cup, in the morning light, in the kind glance of a stranger. You begin to feel the presence of the divine not as a destination to be reached, but as a quiet rhythm already pulsing through your life. You begin to recognize that this path you walk this very life with all its twists and turns is the altar. And you are the prayer. You are the offering. You are the light walking in skin, discovering itself in form. And when you forget, which you will, when you fall into the trance of not enough again, you'll know the way back. You'll remember that healing doesn't mean you never forget. It means you remember more quickly. It means you recognize the lie for what it is and choose not to believe it. It means you gently whisper to yourself, come home, and home always will be found in what is right. So live from this place, not later, now. Speak from it, move from it. Offer your gifts from it, not to prove your value, but because you are overflowing. Let others feel your peace before they hear your words. Let your presence be the evidence of your healing. Let your life become the living expression of a soul that knows deeply and irrevocably that nothing is missing. And if you must hold anything tightly, let it be this truth, that what you focus on creates your reality. So focus on the sacred, focus on the simple, focus on the love you give and the love you receive. Focus on the breath, the breeze, the blessing. Focus on what is right, not in some perfect world, but in this one. This world with its heartbreak and its beauty. This moment with its silence and its song. This you as you are. Because you as you are enough. You are the evidence of grace. You are the light you've been waiting for. And now you remember, now you see, now you are free. There is a quiet truth waiting beneath the clamor of your mind, a whisper resting beneath the loud urgency of the world. And it is this: you do not become abundant. You remember that you already are. You do not wait for reasons to be grateful. Gratitude itself is the reason. And when you align with this simple, sacred truth, life in all its infinite grace begins to open effortlessly, miraculously, abundantly. Gratitude is not a reaction. It is a vibration. It is not something you feel because life gave you what you wanted. It is the silent yes to life, exactly as it is. It is the inner blooming of a soul that finally remembers, I already have everything. I already am everything. So many walk this earth convinced that abundance is out there, locked in future paychecks, hidden in someone else's approval, waiting at the end of some distant goal. But the awakened soul knows abundance is not something you attract by wanting it. It's something you align with by being. It is not a prize given for good behavior. It is your natural state when you stop resisting what is. Shift to gratitude and everything changes. Not because life suddenly rearranges itself to suit your preferences, but because your perception becomes the lens of a soul that sees clearly. When you look through the eyes of lack, the world appears scarce. When you look through the eyes of the ego, there's always something missing. But when you look through the eyes of gratitude, you realize you were never lacking. You were only asleep to the gift of this very moment. The Tao Te Ching tells us, be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. This is not a metaphor. It is a spiritual law. Gratitude unlocks what force cannot. It opens the door to abundance, not through demand, but through surrender. Not through force, but through alignment. There is a divine intelligence running through all of life. It causes the sun to rise without your permission. It breathes you while you sleep. It orchestrates the dance of stars and sea and seasons, and you are part of that choreography. You are not here to control life. You are here to cooperate with it, and gratitude is how you say yes. Gratitude is the vibration that tells the universe, I trust, I receive, I allow. You may believe you have reasons to wait. Wait until the debt is paid. Wait until the body is healed. Wait until the relationship is fixed. But the soul does not wait. The soul rejoices now. The soul sees blessings in the breaking, treasures in the trial, miracles in the mundane. It doesn't ask for perfect conditions. It blesses the imperfection. If you want to know abundance, stop asking, what can I get? And begin asking, what can I bless? Shift from demanding more to cherishing what is. Shift from striving to deserving. Shift from chasing to choosing. And in that sacred shift, the universe responds not because it was withholding, but because you were resisting. Gratitude is not naive. It does not ignore pain. It simply refuses to let pain be the only voice in the room. It does not deny sorrow. It just holds it in a wider space, a space where light can still enter, even through the cracks of suffering. As Rumi whispered, the wound is the place where the light enters you, and gratitude is how you keep that wound open not in despair, but in awe. Awe that even now, even here, even through this, there is beauty. You do not need to have it all figured out. You do not need to be fearless. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to be present. Presence is the portal, and gratitude is the key. When you become deeply grateful for this moment, even without knowing what's next, you touch the divine. You merge with the sacred. You return to the now, where all power resides. The ego says, once I get more, then I'll be grateful. The soul says, be grateful, and you will receive more than you can imagine. Not because gratitude manipulates life into giving, but because gratitude clears the fog from your eyes, so you can finally see it was always here. Abundance is not more money. It is more awareness, more presence, more peace, more love. And all of these arise not from gaining anything, but from remembering everything. From remembering that this breath is enough. This sky is enough. This body, this moment, this life enough. Let the gratitude well up in you now, not for what's next, not for what's missing, but for what is. Let it rise like a tide in your chest. Let it soften your gaze, open your heart, slow your breath. Let it melt the armor around your thoughts. Let it remind you that this now is holy, not because of what it contains, but because of who is witnessing it. You, the sacred observer, you, the divine spark, you who have weathered storms and still stand. You who carry within you a wellspring of wisdom deeper than your fears, louder than your doubts. You who were never meant to earn your worth, only to remember it. And when you remember, truly remember, that life itself is the gift, not some future version of it, not some polished, perfected outcome, but this raw, pulsing, precious. Now then, you begin to live not as a beggar of blessings, but as a bearer of light. You begin to give from fullness. You begin to serve from overflow. You begin to walk through the world not asking, what do I lack, but declaring, how may I share what I already have? And in that declaration, in that vibration of open-hearted gratitude, the universe responds not out of duty, but out of resonance. Like attracts like. Frequency speaks louder than words, and the frequency of gratitude is the song of abundance. So sing it, not with your voice, but with your life. Sing it in how you rise each morning with reverence. Sing it in how you touch the earth with awareness. Sing it in how you forgive with softness. Sing it in how you love with wholeness. Let your presence be the hymn. Let your breath be the prayer. Let your being be the offering. And as you walk the path of gratitude, you will find that abundance no longer feels like something you pursue. It feels like something you are. Because when you live in the vibration of thankfulness, you are already rich. You are already free. You are already home. And home is where the blessings flow. And so, as you deepen into this awareness, let yourself dissolve into the vastness that gratitude reveals. Not a surface appreciation, but a soul-level reverence for the mystery that weaves every breath, every heartbeat, every unseen miracle that sustains your existence. Begin to realize that gratitude is not a response, it is a recognition, a sacred seeing, a dissolving of illusion that separates you from the source of all life. When you become still enough, empty enough, surrendered enough, you will begin to notice how life speaks in quiet languages. The flicker of a candle, the rhythm of your breath, the gentle warmth of sunlight on your skin. These are not ordinary things. They are invitations, reminders from the infinite that everything you need to feel whole has already arrived. Gratitude is the eye that sees again, the eye that looks upon even the most mundane moments and finds the holy within them, the eye that sees not through judgment but through wonder, not through lack but through love. And once you see this way, you can never unsee it. You begin to live with the awareness that you are perpetually standing on sacred ground. Let this truth soak into the marrow of your bones. The more you attune your heart to gratitude, the more you come into harmony with the divine order of the universe. Like a tuning fork struck into perfect resonance, your life begins to vibrate with clarity, with beauty, with grace. Not because the external world has conformed to your desires, but because you have remembered how to see with the eyes of your soul. There is a river flowing through all things unseen, eternal, and wise. It does not rush, it does not resist, it flows, and gratitude is how you step into that river. It is how you stop swimming upstream against life's currents and begin to float in the direction of your highest good. You stop asking for the map and start trusting the current. You stop grasping for outcomes and start feeling for alignment. In this space, you awaken not as a separate self trying to control life, but as a vessel through which life flows. You become the flute through which the divine breath plays its song, and that song is peace. That song is enoughness. That song is the quiet power of a being who needs nothing more to feel whole. Release the grip of needing things to be different. Let go of the belief that joy is conditional, that peace is somewhere else, that love must be earned. You are not here to fix anything. You are here to feel everything. You are here to honor the sacred in every circumstance, to bow before the now as if it were the temple of the divine, because it is. This is the shift from resisting what is to reverencing what is, from controlling life to communing with it, from fear to trust. And trust, when rooted in gratitude, becomes a force stronger than any obstacle, more healing than any remedy, more clarifying than any answer. When you live this way, each moment becomes alive with possibility, even the painful ones, even the confusing ones, because now you see, nothing is ever wasted. Every loss, every silence, every detour has been a part of your becoming. And gratitude does not wait for understanding. It bows even before the lesson is known, because it trusts the teacher behind the curtain. Gratitude turns your life into a sanctuary. It transforms your thoughts into prayers. It alchemizes your experiences into wisdom. It softens the hard places within you that once believed you had to fight for your place in the world. You no longer struggle for belonging, because you now remember you belong to the infinite. And in this belonging, you are unshaken. The storms may come, but your roots are deep in truth. The noise may rise, but your center is anchored in silence. The world may clamor for your attention, but your soul is attuned to the divine hum beneath it all. This is the frequency of a grateful heart. This is the energy of true abundance, not measured in possessions, but in presence. Not counted in accolades, but in awareness. It is not what you hold that makes you rich, it is what you release. Not what you strive for, but what you surrender to. So exhale now. Release the striving. Let the moment catch you, hold you, breathe through you. You have never been separate. You have never been forsaken. You have never needed to be anything other than this. Aware, open, here. Let this breath be your altar. Let this stillness be your teacher. Let this moment be your miracle. And let gratitude be your way home. And as you dwell in this sacred state of awareness, feel how the pace of your life begins to slow, not in laziness, but in reverence. Like a monk walking barefoot on holy ground, you no longer race toward outcomes, you walk in communion with existence. The future no longer holds you hostage. The past no longer stains your present. You are no longer a servant to time, you are a partner with eternity. This, beloved soul, is the great reversal the ego never understands. When you stop chasing life, life begins to come to you. When you stop needing more, more begins to arrive. Not because the external world bends to your will, but because your will has surrendered into the rhythm of the divine. You have moved from resistance to receptivity. And that shift, that soft, quiet shift, alters everything. Gratitude does not bargain with life. It does not say, I will love you when. It says, I love you now. Not because everything is perfect, but because everything is sacred. The broken, the unfinished, the misunderstood, it is all sacred. Even your pain is sacred. Even your longing is sacred. Even your waiting is filled with the presence of God, if only you would stop trying to rush your way past the lesson. You see, there is wisdom hidden in every season. Winter has its teachings. Stillness has its power. And gratitude allows you to receive it all, not just the blooms of spring, but the bare branches of winter. Not just the laughter, but the silence. Not just the answered prayer, but the aching in the dark. It is all part of the holy curriculum. When you live in gratitude, you no longer worship outcomes, you worship awareness. You don't wait for the light at the end of the tunnel, you become the light inside it. You begin to see that joy is not a destination, but a depth, a presence, a sacred noticing of what's already here. And when you notice from this space, the world becomes new. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The simple becomes profound. A single cup of tea becomes a ceremony. A glance from a stranger becomes a divine encounter. The sound of the wind becomes scripture, not because anything changed, but because you did. You stopped looking for miracles and started seeing everything as one. This is what gratitude does. It peels away the veil of not enough. It clears the fog of comparison, the lie of separation. It returns you to unity, to wholeness, to the original state of your soul before the world told you who to be. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not incomplete. You are in the unfolding, and the unfolding cannot be rushed. A rose does not bloom by striving. The sun does not rise by effort. And you, beloved, do not awaken by pushing. You awaken by allowing, by softening, by receiving, by giving thanks not as a transaction but as a declaration. I am already whole. I am already held. I am already home. Feel into that truth. Let it echo in the hollow places. Let it pour into the parts of you that have been waiting for someone else's permission to exhale. Let it rise within you like a holy fire. Not the fire of ambition, but the fire of remembrance. The fire that says, I am enough. This is enough. Now is enough. And from that flame, watch what begins to unfold. Watch how life no longer feels like a fight, but a dance. Watch how people show up, not because you need them, but because you no longer repel them with fear. Watch how opportunities arise, not because you chase them, but because you are now vibrating at the level of alignment. You are no longer trying to manifest things to fill a void. You are magnetizing your outer life to match your inner abundance. This is the path of the grateful soul. It is not loud. It is not flashy. It is not always understood by the world, but it is powerful. It is magnetic. It is true. And it is always available. All it requires is your presence, your willingness to return, your quiet courage to trust that you don't need more to be enough. You only need to see with different eyes. The eyes of the soul, the eyes of gratitude. The eyes that recognize heaven, not as a place you go, but a state you live. And when you live from that state, you don't just change your life, you change your frequency, you change your contribution, you change what you echo into the universe. And the universe always echoes back. And when the universe echoes back, it doesn't speak in the language of logic. It speaks in the language of resonance. You won't always receive what your mind requested, but you will always receive what your soul allowed. Not what you thought you needed, but what you've become aligned to. Because this isn't about deserving, it's about matching. Gratitude tunes your being to the frequency of wholeness, and wholeness attracts reflections of itself. You begin to see that the blessings you once prayed for weren't withheld, they were waiting for you to become still enough, open enough, present enough to receive them. Gratitude does not change what you have, it changes your capacity to receive what's already been given. There are no coincidences on this path. There are only mirrors, life reflecting your inner world back to you with breathtaking accuracy. If your energy says, I am incomplete, the world obliges and offers scarcity. If your presence says, I am thankful, the world opens like a flower in the morning Sunday. It is not a transaction, it is a dance. And this dance is older than time. You, dear one, have always been dancing with the divine, even when you forgot the steps, even when you moved in fear, even when you sat down and called yourself lost. You were never lost. You were only learning how to listen. And gratitude is how you begin to hear the music again. The silent song beneath the noise. The rhythm that was never outside of you, it was pulsing in your heart the whole time. Can you feel it now? That quiet harmony calling you inward? That gentle pull away from the frenzy and toward the stillness? It is the soul's way of saying, come back, come home, come sit in the sacred now. Because the now is the only place where a life is ever happening. The past is memory, the future is imagination, but the now is reality. And gratitude anchors you in that holy present. It teaches you to stop looking for the light and start being the light. It teaches you to stop striving and start surrendering. And in that surrender, a miracle begins, not the miracle of something new arriving, but the miracle of seeing what has always been here. The breath, the body, the beauty, the being. You no longer measure your life by what you achieve, but by what you notice. You no longer chase moments, you become the moment. You no longer ask, how do I get more, but how do I love deeper? And love, real love, begins to rise not because it was missing, but because you have finally cleared space for it to live. That's what gratitude does. It clears, it purifies, it burns away the illusions of lack, the shadows of comparison, the noise of not enough. And in that clearing, the soul takes root again. The divine presence within you begins to rise, not with drama, but with dignity, with quiet strength, with silent knowing. And when you begin to live from that knowing, your very presence becomes a gift. Not your doing, not your accolades, not your image, but your being, your essence, your alignment. People feel it before you speak. Rooms soften when you enter. Not because you seek attention, but because you radiate authenticity. You are no longer trying to impress. You are no longer hiding behind masks. You are simply being, and that simple being, steeped in gratitude, shines more brightly than any performance ever could. This is the return to your true power, not the power to control, but the power to allow, not the power to dominate, but the power to bless, not the power to get, but the power to give from overflow. Because now you remember, the more you give thanks, the more you become thanks. The more you recognize the miracle, the more you become a living embodiment of that miracle. And when you become the miracle, you need not chase anything. You become the magnet. You become the vessel. You become the channel through which the infinite flows. And that, dear soul, is abundance. Not a number, not a possession, but a presence that cannot be lost because it was never separate from you. It was only waiting for you to say yes. And that yes is gratitude. So stay here in this space just a little longer. Let the vibration of that sacred yes reverberate through every cell, every thought, every silence. Do not rush away from this stillness, for it holds a wisdom the intellect cannot grasp, a medicine the mind cannot create. The more you linger in gratitude, the more you dissolve the boundaries between seeker and source. You are no longer apart from life. You are the pulse of life itself, breathing in rhythm with the infinite. Gratitude, when deeply embodied, becomes more than an emotion. It becomes a lens, a language, a state of being. It becomes the way your spirit touches the world, not through effort, but through emanation. You begin to bless things without needing to fix them. You begin to cherish moments without needing to capture them. You begin to see the divine not as something far away, but as the invisible thread holding everything together, every encounter, every lesson, every breath. And oh, the breath, how holy it becomes when seen through the eyes of thankfulness. Each inhale a gift, each exhale a release. You are no longer breathing just to survive. You are breathing as an act of devotion, as a way of honoring the miracle that you are. You who have endured so much. You who have walked through fire and come out with softer eyes. You who have been broken open, not to be diminished, but to be deepened. You are not here to control your life. You are here to receive it. And when you shift from grasping to receiving, the world softens. The future no longer feels like a threat. The unknown no longer feels like a void. It becomes a sacred space where miracles take root. And you no longer need to plan every step you need, only align with the frequency of gratitude and allow the path to rise up and meet your feet. This is what Jesus meant when he spoke of the lilies of the field, not striving, not toiling, yet clothed in greater beauty than kings. They do not chase abundance, they are abundance. And so are you when you release the illusion that you must become something more to be worthy of joy. The ego will resist this. It will clamor to be needed, to be busy, to prove. But the soul just wants to feel. It wants to bow. It wants to rejoice in the unseen harmony beneath the surface of things. It does not ask, what more can I do? It asks, how deeply can I receive? It knows that the true currency of the universe is not effort, it is presence, it is alignment. It is gratitude flowing through every gesture like golden light. And that light touches everything. It touches how you speak, turning your words into balm. It touches how you walk, turning your path into prayer. It touches how you love, turning relationship into revelation. You stop loving for what you get. You love because it is who you are. You love not to be filled, but to overflow. Not to seek safety, but to offer sanctuary. This is abundance. This is the rich life, not free from pain, but infused with meaning. Not always easy, but always whole. Not perfect, but profoundly sacred. You do not need to wait for some great awakening, some dramatic turning point. The shift is already here. in your breath, in your gaze, in the quiet yes that rises from your heart when you remember, this moment is enough. And as you live from that knowing, you become less interested in chasing dreams and more devoted to embodying your essence. The world may still offer distractions. The mind may still whisper doubts. But your center, your true, rooted, radiant center will remain untouched because it is grounded in truth. And the truth is you are already connected to the source of all things. There is nothing missing in you, nothing absent, nothing broken. You are not here to gather worth. You are here to reveal it. You are not here to be more. You are here to remember that less fear, less noise, less resistance is actually the way back home. So continue to walk gently through your life, letting each moment be enough. Not as a resignation, but as a revelation. For when you can give thanks for what is, even as you long for what could be, you are living in the paradox of the awakened heart. You are living in the tension where transformation happens. You are living as a bridge between the seen and the unseen, between desire and devotion, between human and divine. And that is no small thing. That is grace. That is freedom. That is abundance made manifest through the sacred vessel that is you. So let this final breath of truth wrap around you like a sacred shawl, gently woven with every thread of awareness you've touched in this journey. Let it settle not just in your mind, but in the deeper soil of your being. For you have not merely heard words, you have remembered a way of seeing, a way of living, a way of being that was always yours, just waiting to be returned to. Gratitude is not the end, it is the eternal beginning, the doorway through which all blessings walk, the soft soil where joy takes root, the holy posture that says to life, I will no longer demand from you, I will dance with you. You become the participant, not the puppet, the vessel, not the victim, the witness of wonder in a world that once felt like chaos. And from this sacred seat within yourself, the world no longer appears fragmented. You stop seeing through the lens of separation, this and that, good and bad, right and wrong. You begin to see wholeness. You begin to see the divine choreography, even in what once felt like delay, detour, or disaster. You begin to see that life was never punishing you, it was polishing you, softening the edges, breaking the shell so the light within you could pour through. This is the wisdom of the soul. It doesn't seek to escape difficulty. It seeks to bless it. It seeks to walk through fire barefoot and leave behind footprints of gold. And gratitude, when anchored deep in the soul, turns even suffering into sacred fuel. It does not erase the ache, it just refuses to let the ache be wasted. It transmutes pain into presence. It teaches you to say, even with tears in your eyes, thank you for this too, is part of my becoming. And in that surrender, in that tear-soaked, light-drenched surrender, something eternal begins to shine through you. Not borrowed light, not conditional light, your light. The light that was buried beneath striving, beneath fear, beneath the illusion that you had to earn what you already are. You are not here to be grateful only when things are easy. You are here to be grateful because it is your nature. Because the soul, in its most awakened state, does not need life to meet its expectations. It meets life with reverence, with devotion, with open hands and soft eyes. And those hands, those eyes, are your gift to the world. Not because they fix anything, but because they see differently. They see with the eyes of love. They see with the eyes of source. And they remind others, without saying a word, that it is safe to return home. Because you, beloved, are now a home, a sanctuary of stillness in a hurried world, a beacon of presence in a culture of distraction, a living, breathing embodiment of what happens when someone stops chasing and starts cherishing. So go now, not back to the life you had, but forward into the life you now see with new eyes. Let your footsteps be a prayer. Let your laughter be a hymn. Let your silence be a sanctuary. And above all, let your gratitude be your compass. It will never mislead you. For when you are grateful, truly and quietly grateful, you are no longer waiting to be blessed. You are blessing the world with your very being. You are not walking toward abundance. You are the path upon which abundance flows. And as you live this way, each moment becomes enough. Each breath becomes sacred. Each heartbeat becomes a thank you. And life begins to bloom in ways the mind could never have planned. Because now, You are not creating from fear. You are creating from fullness. You are not asking, what can I take? You are asking, what can I give? You are not hoping to be chosen. You are realizing you already are. You have always been, and so it is. Let gratitude lead you home. Let it keep you soft. Let it make you rich in the only way that truly matters. For when gratitude becomes your way of being, abundance is no longer a destination. It is your natural state. And now, you remember